Good morning, gang. Dr. Sean Hubbard here. Thank you so much for joining me in the Winner's Circle. This is the second week of October, and this would be the first edition of my weekly series where we'll be focusing on improving your health. My sense is that people can improve their health as we learn more, and we learn more from every day's experience. We're going to get started shortly and see what we can learn from this day's experience. Hang in. I've already been asked to see somebody coming over from dialysis. They think the patient had a stroke. Okay, so this is a picture of a CAT scan of the brain. We usually get a CAT scan when somebody has had an abrupt change in their function. Usually it's unilateral weakness on one side, face, arm, or leg, in which case we're looking for acute blood. Blood shows up as bright white on a CAT scan. We don't see it here. And when we questioned this lady, she really woke up with weakness in both legs. Time to move on. This patient is 43 years. He was riding in a car, developed a severe headache, and then they changed driver. Somebody else started driving. They brought him straight to the ER. We're going to go check. Okay, so we got more history from his family. They report that he had a history of high blood pressure. He didn't really like taking his medications, particularly because he didn't have any symptoms. He was doing pretty well until this day. He developed a severe headache. He came into the ER, and remember, we do CAT scans to make sure after an abrupt change that there's no blood. But you can see here that bright white, all of this is blood. It shouldn't be there. And unfortunately, we're probably not going to be able to do much for him. We'll do the best we can, but I'm not suspecting a great outcome. Heading over now to see somebody in their 70s who had just developed weakness on the left side. Apparently she woke up and then fell trying to get out of bed. So she's so far within the TPA window. Okay, so we did confirm the history. She developed weakness on the left side, and she came right into the emergency department because her sister was present. We're doing a CAT scan to make sure that she's safe to receive blood thinning medications. There is no bright white inside the brain to suggest that there is blood, and so by all accounts it looked like she's to go. We have pharmacy here to meet us. Okay, because of amazing coordination between the pharmacy and CAT scan and the emergency department, we were able to give the medication in 30 minutes. We're now doing a CTA, a CT of the arteries of the brain and neck to make sure that there are not major blockages which might suggest that she needs surgery. We don't find that, so now it's time to move on with the rest of her diagnostic workup. So later that day, she was able to move her right hand and start wiggling her thumb and fingers, and by the next day she was picking up her hand and holding it up in the air. So the treatment was a success. We asked her to undergo an MRI of the brain. As you can see here, the bright white for MRI will show an abrupt stroke, a recent stroke within the last couple of weeks. So we were able to make her stroke smaller. We're not able to make it go away completely. Still a success. So our patient responded wonderfully to our treatment of this stroke, but she underwent a couple of more tests to make sure that we could prevent additional and recurrent future strokes. Wow, what an amazing week we had. We had some difficult circumstances. I think we met a lot of the challenges. With the team I have, however, I'm sure that we'll get stronger and will continue to be that much closer to perfection. Well, that's going to just about wrap up the week. You notice, however, that throughout this week, we've gotten a chance to see a lot of different people with different crises. This week represents a very typical week. Doctors and nurses get a chance to evaluate people for what conditions are associated with what approaches to nutrition and fitness. And so it enables us to make personal changes in our lifestyles, and hopefully we're able to share that information with you. So after treating patients due to stroke and heart disease, after a while, you start to learn. And I have made some adjustments myself, what I'm buying from the store, what I'm feeding my family, and what I'm eating myself. I've become a fan of the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet consists of fruits and vegetables, fish, a couple times a week, beans and nuts. I've become a fan of this Greek salad. Get yourself some cucumbers and tomatoes, onions, feta cheese, olives, olive oil, balsamic vinegar, salt and pepper. And you got something that you can add to anything: meat and potatoes, beans and rice, spaghetti and meatballs. You can't lose. You can only win with a Greek salad. So at the outset of our discussion, we said that the main focus was going to be how we can improve our health. And throughout the week, we've seen many people present with different challenges, different crises. And we've had an opportunity to label ourselves and label these experiences. Sometimes we've labeled ourselves as hypertensive, we've called ourselves diabetics, stroke victims, we've called ourselves narcotic addicts, smokers, we've called ourselves hypertensives, we've called ourselves renal failure patients. We've called ourselves everything except winners. Now, I see all of these crises, all of these challenges as experiences. I think we can learn from all of these experiences, and I think if we do learn from all of these experiences, then we win. If we are increasingly learning from all of these experiences, then we are increasingly victorious, and then there's no way that we can't do well in the long run. And so a big part of my approach, and part of what I'd like to recommend and prescribe, is to win and keep winning, and by that I mean to learn from each and every day's experience. I look forward to weekly meeting with you and going over these ideas. Thank you so much for joining, and keep winning.